Hi, I'm Bob.
And I'm Sherry.
And this is Mostly Politics with Bob and Sherry.
And this morning we have Joseph Patrick Murphy and Kevin Tatulyan. And you all know from our previous show that Joe is an attorney, immigration attorney, and ran for the Common Core plea judge. And Kevin was the director for Republican Committee of Allegheny County and recently won his election as a state committeeman. So, and this morning they're here. They have an announcement to make.
Thank you so much, Bob and Sherry, for having us on. I'm so happy to be back on your show. You are right. We do have an announcement to make here. Joe and I are extremely excited to announce here on the Bob and Sherry show that Joe and I are going to be running for chair and vice chair of our Republican Committee of Allegheny County. We have so many great ideas that we want to share with you. We want to share a vision with you. We want to show a message of how our Republican candidates can win up and down the ballot. And we are so excited to be here.
Yes.
Kevin, how old are you and when and why did you become a Republican?
I appreciate that question, Bob. I'm 32 years old currently. My parents immigrated here from the Soviet Union with my grandparents. They came here in September of '89. I was born in October. Just quite literally 40 days later, they came September 4th. I was born October 14th. My entire life, my parents and my grandparents told me how lucky I was to be a U.S. citizen because they encountered what it is to live on the other side. They knew what it is to live under socialism, where the only things that you were guaranteed was constant poverty. You could never get out of it. They tell you that everything is free, but it is not. And growing up I did not understand that, right? I mean, I was a teenager, just wanted to play my Nintendo, whatever. But as I got older and started going through college and having these Marxist professors, I would come home and tell my mom this, and she would say, Kevin, who are you going to trust? A professor who's never been there or your mom who lived there for 22 years, right? My parents came here with nothing but the American dream. They worked really hard. They built themselves a career. They raised 3 children. And I am here because I am so passionate. Guys, we are losing this country. This country is in the midst of a culture war. This country is in the midst of there. We are trending towards a socialist regime. Best case scenario, in the next 20 or 30 years, we end up like Canada or Western Europe. Worse than that, we end up as a total socialist country. If we do not stand up, if our grassroots do not get involved, if we do not energize them, if we do not give them a reason to show up and get involved, we will lose this country. And as President Ronald Reagan said, if we ever do, it's going to be within. And unfortunately, we're coming to this point, and it's coming sooner than later.
What led you to this decision?
Yes, what led us to this decision here was we got so much feedback from the grassroots that they want to be heard. We understand that the best type of management in any type of organization is from bottom up. We want to hear from our grassroots. We want to hear from the people who are knocking doors, making phone calls, and we want to energize them. We want to build our committee. We have a potential of having over 2,600 precinct committee people that can go door to door and make phone calls. We want to re-energize this party. We want to bring younger people in. We want to bring and start diverse coalitions of Hispanics and African Americans and young voters and women and grow this Republican Party. As I've said on your show before, Allegheny County has more registered Republicans than any county in Pennsylvania, over 262,000 of them. If we grow this party and energize our grassroots, the base, the heart of our party, we can again win elections statewide in Pennsylvania.
And I think to Kevin's point, it's to the average person on the street, it's inaccessible. When you talk to rank and file Republicans, they don't know where the party headquarters is. They don't know that there are committees even. I mean, they're just literally cut out of it. They're connected to the Republican Party much more by their television than they are by other Republicans. We've got to have outreach. We've got to be accessible, and we've got to be engaging. We've got to get to these people. They're out there. I knock doors all over Allegheny County, and they want to talk to you. You just got to be accessible and do that.
Since 2020, the Republican Party in Allegheny County seemed fractured a bit. And after an ugly primary, it seemed to have gotten worse. What are your plans to unite everyone in your party?
And that's a natural process, Sherry, with your question there. Both parties have primaries. After 2016, many people thought the Republican Party was fractured because there's that many people running for president. Once candidate Trump won that nomination, everybody unified around him to get him across the finish line over Hillary Clinton in 2016. We're in the same place. People have always said, and I understand their frustration, they said, Kevin, we had 9 candidates running for governor. What was going on? Why was there so many candidates? And the reason for that is, guys, we had the winning message. Republicans knew that we can win this year. That's why there are so many people who ran and exemplified our messaging, right? We are united. I've talked to people after the primary. We are behind Doug Mastriano and Carrie Lewis Del Rosso for governor and lieutenant governor. We are behind Dr. Oz for the U.S. Senate. We are behind Jeremy Schaefer for U.S. Congress. And we are behind all of our state reps and state senators who are running that we're going to send to Harrisburg to work with the governor and lieutenant governor. I cannot specify enough that we as a party here, the grassroots, are united. We are ready to win, and we will send Republicans to Harrisburg and Washington, D.C. come November 8th.
So you talked about motivating, energizing Republicans in the largest county of Republicans in the state. Do you think part of the issue, I hear all the time from Republicans, well, I'm in a very blue area, so they sort of have a defeatist attitude. They don't think that, their votes matter and count, so they sort of check out.
Well, it's the same thing I was just talking about. They're not engaged with the party. There's no events. There's nothing. We rent that office down on Green Tree Road. Once in a while, they have an event, election night, watch this or something like that. I think there was a screening at 2,000 Mules. This is not the sort of stuff that gets the average guy to go out and go to things. This is something, it's the echo chamber. It's the events for the faithful, by the faithful. And I'm not saying that the people we'd be bringing in are unfaithful. I think they just don't know how to be faithful. When you look at what our competition does, the other party, they'll have events, support justice, support the environment, things of this nature where it's, so to speak, an easier way to do it. It's a fun way to do it. Pizza nights and stuff like that are great, but we're all so overloaded with events, online podcasts. We've got a great digital strategy for our party, and it doesn't have to be something we spend a lot of money on. Those of you who are familiar with my campaign, particularly my online presence, know that I'm pretty good at producing video. We have a great YouTube channel, all sorts of neat stuff, political topics. Just introducers. Hey, it's Joe Murphy. I'm here at RCAC headquarters. You should really see how nice this place is. That's one strategy. But bringing in groups that don't know how, making sure they know how to access the party is very, very important. And it's something we're severely lacking in right now. The party is this kind of isolated. Yes, some people know it exists. They don't know where it is. They don't know who's in charge. Maybe they heard something on the news. Even for me, before I ran for office, I had no idea how this party was set up. And I've been pretty much a Republican now for 25 years. So that's a very important thing. It's something we do inexpensively and very effectively. Pizza nights, if you want to do it, take the movie out on the road, have events, and those are very good things to do. So, yeah.
So how did this team come together? Why do you think you two can complement each other?
I think that our efforts together combined, I spent the past 2 years working with our grassroots here as the executive director of the Republican Committee of Allegheny County. Our grassroots know us, the committee chairs and the vice chairs, the committee members know me, but just as importantly, they know Joe because Joe ran countywide. He worked with them last year when he ran for judge. These people knocked doors for him, made phone calls for him, and I can't emphasize enough, Joseph Patrick Murphy was our only brave enough Republican to run for the Common Pleas Court last year from the get-go, from the beginning. When the petition started, Joe was the only Republican running for Common Pleas Court, and our committee members respected that because he was willing to carry our flag across all 130 municipalities and spread the message that we need to restore law and order and bring sanity back to our courts because that's where it all starts. And again, with our leadership here, I know what the grassroots wants. I've worked with them. I've heard their concerns. And I'm so excited to run for chair to address their concerns. And I cannot be more honored and more happy that Joseph Patrick Murphy has agreed to run with me as my vice chair.
Well, thank you, Kevin. And I would say that much of the same thing. Kevin, having worked inside RCAC now for 2 years, as I say, knows how the sausage gets made. And I really did have a great and fun time in a campaign. I got to meet lots and lots of people. We're known quantities. You know who we are. You know what we stand for. You know what our voices sound like. You know what we look like. And you know how we reason. Reasoning is what you hire leaders for, their reasoning ability. And I think we have demonstrated, maybe not the ultimate reasoning in the world, I think that's a little bit higher up, but we're not bad. And I think we could do a very good job. We've got some plans. And in addition to having plans, those plans are informed by experience. It's not just two guys that decided they wanted to run for Republican leadership. These are two people that worked, knew the great strengths and great frustrations of campaigning and where weaknesses and strengths in the party were. And I'd like to think that we'd be able to emphasize the strengths and work on those weaknesses. And the one that we're talking about is the grassroots. There's so many people out there that want to help that just don't even know how to. That is the plan here. And I think if we could get half of what we want done, or even a third, this would be a wonderful, wonderful step forward for our local Republican Party.
There are, around the city and such, I see Democrat events, outdoor events, where they might have musicians, they might have, a barbecue, I don't know, but it's sort of fun events that are associated with the Democrat Party. And it seems like there are events sometimes with conservatives, maybe a motorcycle ride or something like that, but it doesn't ever seem to be associated with the Republican Party. I mean, is that something that Republican committee in Allegheny County could help to do to energize and attract people to the party?
We could certainly do it here on a local level. Obviously, the Republican Committee of Allegheny County, as powerful as it may be, can't undo 50 years of Hollywood messaging that Republicans are all old, stodgy devils. But the Republican Party could be doing things. We have, and we're here at my law firm now, we have wonderful outreach programs that are still running, particularly in the immigration space, President Trump's Liberian Green Card program. And these are situations where we're onboarding new Republicans. As an immigration attorney, I can import new Republicans faster than anybody can make new Democrats. That takes time. They have to, there's an incubation period of about 9 months. There's brainwashing and all the other things they do to make Democrats. So we can import new Republicans very quickly with a work permit and a Make America Great Again hat and a kiss on the cheek. And it really does work. And we have a lot of fun. We do that respectfully, lovingly, and really joyously, welcoming people that are happy to be Americans. Of course, it doesn't have to be anything that extreme, but I'm pretty good at that stuff, and I really like doing it. Outreach will be one of my main priorities. And again, you don't want to brand these. I'm not saying to be sneaky or anything like that. There are parts of our platform that everybody can enjoy. The Republican platform on conservation, the Republican platform on all sorts of things, and you have to look and get at those core constituencies and see where they are. I don't think this wouldn't be we don't have enough time to go over all the different ways we would do that. And I'd hate to think that you're being sneaky, but no one says Democrats are being sneaky when it's pretty much the events you're talking about, right? We're going to have a march for whatever is social justice thing. Those are all ways of bringing people in, to showing and identifying who they are without having to sit around with a bunch of blue hairs and debate very fine points of parliamentary procedure and argue about it. This is no fun for anybody. We're fighting and competing in a world against these phones, digital radio, a million distractions, and we have to be not a distraction, but a way in, accessibility. Okay, well, I know my neighborhood or my committee chair because he's on my Little League. One of the things I always encouraged when I was in leadership in various organizations through college and after that was that people who are involved in my organizations, I generally encourage them all to be involved in at least one outside organization and let it be known that they're in both. This is a wonderful way to make it accessible. As a lawyer, it's very cool because if you join a shooting club, the Duquesne Club, a country club, you let it be known that you're a lawyer, and that's easy access to one. I don't have to go find one. I know Joe. He may not be the best golfer in the world. I'm famously terrible at it, but he's easy to get to, and I can talk to him. So this is the sort of thing. And again, I'd hate to have someone suggest that these are sneaky tactics or that we're adopting the tactics of the other side. But this is very simple stuff. This is normal grassroots organizing, something I'm very good at. This is how I run my immigration business. I get into communities, make myself accessible, and draw in large numbers of people. I hope that's responsive to your question. I think it's probably a little bit more in depth.
The progressive Democrats are very organized and disciplined. They have taken over the Democratic Committee of Allegheny County, and it's a lot of young people. the one thing about the Republican Party, do you think there needs to be some kind of rebranding, or does the party in Allegheny County right now have a leadership problem?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think Joe can input to that too because he ran last year in that. But absolutely, the socialists here are taking over the Democrat Party. It's not only happening in Allegheny County; it's happening statewide in Pennsylvania. It's helping. It's helping. It's happening countrywide. Where these socialist progressives, the Bernie Sanders, the AOCs, I mean, you saw it here in the primary. You had Summer Lee beat Steve Irwin, right? I mean, that was the classic race right there, where it was somebody who was, campaigning with Bernie Sanders and supported by AOC in the squad, compared to your very moderate, kind of just, there, Steve Irwin, right, who was an attorney, and Summer Lee won. And that is what's happening, right? We are told by so many people in the Republican Party that, the grassroots are too energized or some are too crazy or something. That's just not true, right? Because the left embraces everybody and allows them to do that. We have to do the same thing. We have to get organized and organized on so many different levels, guys, that it comes down from election strategy. We have to, while it is a law today, we have to embrace mail-in ballot voting. We have to understand that turning out the most Republican voters is how we win elections. We have to knock doors. We have to make phone calls. As Joe said, we can't just say, come to a building you've never been on the second floor and hope people show up there, because no one is going to do that. We have to make it inviting. We have to connect them with their little league coach. We have to, maybe there's a local police officer. Maybe there's somebody in the community, a coach that they trust or a teacher that they trust. And this is how we get organized, and it all starts on a committee level. And that is why I'm so excited that you said that. And I want to make this, working at RCAC for 2 years when I got there in 2020, we had slightly over 260 people as committee members. We have now almost doubled. We are about 470 committee members. In the past 2 years, I working with so many grassroots leaders, we're able to double the amount of committees. So if we had one person, for every one, we have two people working now, making these calls, working. And that is how we're going to do, and that is how we're going to get organized. And this starts our original premise of why me and Joe are running. The more committee members we can get involved, the more bottom-up strategy that we incorporate, and the more grassroots enthusiasm we have, means we grow our base, we churn out our base, and ultimately, which this is, we elect Republicans to office.
This week we interviewed Doug Austin, and he talked about Sam DeMarco, the current committee chair, how he wasn't engaged in things. And at one point he said the rector is very engaged with the committee members, the committee chairs, and working. Was he talking about you?
I would hope so. I mean, we would have to ask Doug what he meant by that. I'm not here necessarily to speak on behalf of Doug. I would hope that he meant that, because I did work with our chairs and vice chairs continuously. If you make calls to them, they are going to say that Kevin has worked with us and helped us. And here, Bob and Sherry, I'm not here to talk about the past administration or anybody else that's running in this race. I'm here solely to focus on Kevin and Joe and what we bring to the table. We have the ideas, we have the leadership, we have the qualities, and most important, all of our committee members, I challenge you, if you call the committee members, ask them, do you know who Kevin Tatulyan is? Or do you know who Joseph Patrick Murphy is? And the answer is yes, because we are tested, we are proven, we have worked for them, we have delivered before, and by surely we will deliver once again.
Yes.
So this is going to be a huge midterm coming up in November. And it's a big fight ahead of a lot of these candidates that won the primary. Mr. Sam DeMarco is a long-term local politician and deeply rooted with name recognition. And what do you say to the candidates that's going to be running in November, that Joseph, Patrick, Kevin, and Joe are going to help them to cross the finish line versus someone that's been in politics for a long time?
Well, I think I'll just say, I don't know what Kevin's thought on this is. Maybe we didn't even really agree on it. We're not going to be throwing people under the bus. We don't want to be saying, oh, this person did a horrible job, or we're going to talk about what we're going to do. Again, I don't want to be throwing anybody under the bus, but I know what the party did for me, what the party did not do for me, and things that the local party could have obviously, easily, and cheaply done for me, but did not. As Kevin said, I was in the judicial race. I don't think you have many Republican candidates ever. I think a lot of people were surprised. I was in a situation where a lot of the Democrat machinery didn't even know what to do about me. Okay, the party could have, and I believe, done things for me very easily. For example, very early, they could have said, "Hey, we have this candidate." The committee chairs could have called me and said, "Joe, would you come out here?" I did not have, no one gave me a list of the names of the committees and phone numbers until a week before the primary. I didn't know the names of committee chairs. This is outrageous. And I'm not suggesting it's their job to run my campaign or anything. But if you have, particularly if you have a candidate willing to do this, there was no money from the party. I might add at a time when the local party was spending county Republican Party money to buy thousands of yard signs for a city candidate, Tony Moreno, and put signs for a city candidate up all around the county. While they were doing it, and they overpaid for them, while they were overpaying for signs in places for that candidate that couldn't possibly get votes there, they provided me with none. In fact, at one point I went down to county headquarters and my stuff was put in a little supply closet. So again, I'm not trying to, but this is stuff that could have been done supportively. It would have cost nothing, or it would have cost what they were spending on a candidate to put up signs in Jefferson Hills for Tony Moreno when he can't get votes there. So efficient, effective use of resources, support. We want you to win. Now more than ever, we care about you, our candidates. And that is, I think, what I would be saying we could reassure them of.
And if I'll follow up on that, Sherry, to your second follow-up question there with the winning strategies, right? Our winning strategy here is simply this: is energizing our grassroots and giving them a voice, right? Our Republican Party, right? We are the party of life. We are pro-life.
Mm-hmm.
We are the party of the Second Amendment, but not only the Second Amendment. We as a party believe in the Bill of Rights, and we understand that this does not come from government. This comes from our Creator. We are the party that believes that. We are the party that has always believed in personal responsibility. And we have built a party based on those factors for many, many, many years. But now the party is evolving and we're bringing in new people. Guys, we're talking about medical freedom. We are now at a point of where the government is trying to dictate what you put in your own body, whether it's right or wrong. We are now fighting big tech. We are trying to hold big tech accountable. They have powers that have never seen before. If they disagree with you, they can censor you, delete you, which is a direct, and I'm not an attorney, which Joe is, but I see that as a huge violation of the First Amendment. $6, we're heading towards $6 gasoline prices. It is time to reopen the Keystone Pipeline, right? On top of that, and we have to once again secure our border. President Trump did that. We see caravans of people coming. It's not about being, as Joe said, being an immigration attorney. We believe in legal immigration. We believe in people coming to this country, but you cannot break the laws, come into this country with caravans, and then take the benefits that belong to Americans. And even though we are not running for Congress or any of these issues to solve these issues, we as a party are pledging to recruit candidates and support candidates who are going to bring those issues up life, because when we do, we will again build our base, get more people involved, and turn out more voters come November.
And I think I think we're pro-life candidates here. You guys can count on us for support in that regard.
So when is the election, and how can the committee men and women right now reach out to the both of you and just maybe have a private conversation? And do you need petitions signed at this point?
But we do. We have to get signatures. Ken, what's the exact date of the election? July 9th?
Yeah, it's on Saturday, July 9th. Registration is going to start at 7:30 in the morning. It's going to be at the Pittsburgh Marriott there. We are encouraging, just to make sure everybody understands, this is elections only for committee members. So you had to run and get elected at this previous election. That's the only people who can vote.
County committee men and women.
County committee men and women, and chairs and vice chairs of those committees. The only people who can participate. Again, Saturday, July 9th. Registration starts at 7:30 in the morning. And again, the really good thing about me and Joe is we're totally accessible. I'll put my cell phone number here. I know all my committee members have it, but my cell phone number is 248-860-1906. My email is my last name, TATULYANK gmail.com. I have people reaching out to me all throughout the day and night. Take 20 to 30 calls a day, always answer them. People have always said that. They said, Kevin, do you live by your phone? You're always answering this phone. And I said, yes, because if you're calling me, you need something, I will be there. I will answer your phone call. And I'm gladly to say that one of the reasons I asked Joe to run with me, he's the same way.
Yes.
Anytime I've called Joe, he's picked up. When the grassroots have called, he's picked up, and he's been able to answer their questions. And I'm sure Joe will give his contact information as well.
Absolutely. Joseph Patrick Murphy, 412-973-3442. I encourage you guys to look at my Friends of Joseph Patrick Murphy Facebook and YouTube. There's all kind of neat videos. In particular, I want you to look at a video on the Friends of Joseph Patrick Murphy YouTube channel. It's called Ballots and Bikinis. It's my thoughts on mail-in voting. But I am very accessible. I'm always available. 412-973-3442. Cell, text, WhatsApp, Viber, all the apps. I have them all. They're all the same number. And I mean, they keep coming in even while I'm talking to you. We're getting a lot of people calling us right now. But yes, that sort of accessibility is exactly what we're talking about. We're living in a modern age. People, text messages, little apps, things like this, those are really great communication tools. And if you're back and forth, that's really just wonderful. It makes people feel supported. It makes, you're reaching out and they're getting a response. Just being available by text messages, something our party is failing at because everybody uses text now. Nobody wants to call, nobody wants to write an email. It's text. Hey, what's going on? We should have a text server. President Trump had one. I would get texts from him all the time. Breaking, President Trump does this. And you don't want to overload people, but updates, the elections tomorrow, don't forget, this sort of stuff. Your polling place is this. That could all be done. That they can be getting texts on Election Day. Good morning, David. This is Republican headquarters. And today's Election Day. Your polling place is blank, and it closes at blank. Why is that not happening? This is the sort of stuff we're talking about. Maybe it's just a modernization. I don't know. But that certainly is one of the parts of the outreach. Anyway, it's Joseph Patrick Murphy, 412-973-3442. Don't hesitate to call. I always pick up.
Thank you so much for coming on, and best wishes. Bob, do you have anything to add?
Is there anything you'd like to say that we haven't asked you? Or
There will be communication coming out from me and Joe here about our platform, what we're running on. We're going to be sending a letter here to all of our committee members, to grassroots, and we're going to be asking for their support. I want to also emphasize this. We have a lot of support from the grassroots, but we are not taking anything for granted. I, by no stretch of the imagination, am expecting anybody to vote for me. I am not. All my respect is earned. My trust is earned. I've earned it before. Joe has earned it before. And I can assure you that we will work tirelessly for the next 31 days. We have 4 weeks from tomorrow, 29 days, 4 weeks from tomorrow's Election Day. We are going to work hard to earn every committee man and woman's support with our mailings, with our grassroots rallies, with the trust and vision that if you place in us, and this is the one thing that I really want to say, I will never let you down. If you give me your vote on Saturday, July 9th, I will work tirelessly for your voice, to make sure you are represented, and to make sure that our Republican Party grows and fulfills all of our wishes and desires. Bob and Sherry, thank you so much for having us on. You both are great patriots,
Yes.
and what you are doing with this show to give people locally here a voice is just amazing, and we truly appreciate you having us on today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
thanks,
All right.
guys.
Thank you.